for heart disease, cancer, type 2 diabetes, obesity, and many other chronic illnesses. And the 2015 scientific report from the United States Dietary Guidelines Advisory Committee recommends a predominantly plant-based diet for health and environmental reasons. Mainstream health organizations are recommending a plant-based diet too, including Kaiser Permanente, which is the largest healthcare organization in the U.S., the Dietary Guidelines Advisory Committee, and the American Institute for Cancer Research. So these are heavyweights that are acknowledging that plant-based diets are not only healthy, they are better for you. So when I surveyed these people, these were the main roadblocks and concerns. People were worried about meeting nutritional needs, tight budget, convenience and availability. You know, when they go out to restaurants, people who travel a lot, people who don't have a lot of time to prepare food, time constraints, living with unsupportive relatives, which was a big one for children and teenagers in particular. Food is a means of comfort. A lot of us have food addictions. Breaking ingrained habits, because we don't really think about what we eat and why. Fear of the unknown, lack of knowledge, and social anxiety, fear of being isolated, ostracized, or criticized. So can you eat 100% plant-based immediately? The answer is yes, and it is not hard if you follow these tips. So you start by cooking the same dishes that you make now, only you swap out the animal-derived ingredients for plant-based versions. So let's say you love making meat lasagna. So you would take the ground beef and swap it for veggie ground beef. And the rest of the recipe would be exactly the same. The tomato sauce is vegan. The pasta was vegan. So, you know, or vegan cheese. There's tons of different shredded vegan cheeses that you can even get at Publix or Target. So that's pretty much how you start, is you work with what you're familiar with, and as your learning curve improves and you widen your knowledge, it gets easier and easier to get very creative. And you'll find, and I found this, and many other vegans will attest to this, the longer you're vegan, the more variety you eat, way more variety than you ever ate as a meat eater. So then you bring a vegan swap list when you go grocery shopping. And a vegan swap list is essentially, like, if you know what recipes you're gonna make, do the research online ahead of time. Now I'm gonna have a slide that has all of the top brands, and I recommend that everyone take a picture of that, because that will help you when you go to the grocery store to remember which products are out there. There's lots of nutritional documentaries, and I'll go into that later. Plant-based nutritional websites. Nutritionfacts.org is the best one out there as far as I'm concerned. Join local vegan meetup groups for support. I can't stress this enough. The community really helps with transition, and it really helps with keeping morale up and feeling like you're a part of something wonderful. And there's a lot of vegan startup kits that are free online, and they give you all kinds of meal plans and suggestions too. So there's a wealth of resources out there. So the biggest myths and misconceptions, people worry about getting enough protein. There is not a single vegan who has died from a protein deficiency. If you are eating, you are getting protein. B12, D3, omega-3s, and iron. Now B12, people worry about B12. The people who eat meat are getting their B12 from the supplements that animals are given. They're not living in the conditions that they used to live in. So they're actually getting fortification in their food. So when they say, oh, the B12, it's like, well, we're getting the B12 from, you know, a plant source. The omegas, it's very easy to get your omegas, your DHA, your EPA, flax seeds, hemp seeds, you know, there's chia seeds, there's a lot of nut butters that are full of EFAs, a lot of those healthy oils like flaxseed oil.
Back to the B12, what vegetables or fruits have B12?
Well, it's not. It's created by bacteria. But you can take a vegan B12 supplement that's naturally derived. And in the upcoming slide, I have recommendations for that. My B12 levels are actually high when I get blood work. They're up there. They're good. But about 40% of the population is B12 deficient, whether you eat meat or you don't. And soy, because this is a big one, and Kathy, you're not allowed to talk when I talk about soy. We're separating the facts versus the fiction, because there's a lot of propaganda out there, and most of it came from the Meat and Dairy Association. So we're going to dispel that tonight. So these are some good plant-based protein sources. Like I said, there is protein in all plant foods, but these are the ones that have the most concentration of protein. So your beans, your grains, your seeds, your nuts, your nut and seed butters, your sprouts, tofu, tempeh, seitan, the mock meats, again, vegetables have them. Broccoli is high in protein. Soy and pea milk. Pea milk is wonderful. If you have any soy sensitivity, pea milk has as much protein per 8, I think it's 8 grams of protein per 8 ounces.